Well,
Yeah.
hello there. You're watching OBBM Live special DFW local business interviews. This is Susan Hamilton, and I'm talking with Jeff Bickerstaff of Bickerstaff Insurance and Financial Services. Right now, he's housed, his shelter in place is over there in
Yeah.
Taxi. And what this interview series is doing, I'll remind you, is bringing our local businesses front and center of the marketplace to help you see how they're rising to the challenges of the shelter in place order, because everybody is different. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us here today. I really appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks, Susan. Thanks for having me. I guess I'd say one quick thing is shelter in place. It sounds so harsh. We like to say stay at home around here in Saxe because, you can still get out and exercise and things like that. And I can stay at home and run my office and run my business. So we like to stay at home over here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that have some disagreements with that. I feel like if we're
Yeah.
being separated enough, I'm certainly getting out and exercising too. And trust me, friends, you want me to do that. This brain needs walking every day. So that's pretty hilarious. Look, friends, if you don't know, are you listening to Seated to Serve on the OBBM network? Oh my goodness!
Of course they are.
Yeah, this is great. If you are not, let me introduce to you the Jeff Bickerstaff that I know. So Jeff Bickerstaff has got one of the things I really appreciate about his approach, and why I'm excited to share him with you today, is because he understands the way cities run. This is not a new thing for him. He's got Murphy, Forney, Richardson, Garland, and now Saxe. He understands the way the government works. He understands how commerce works in that government. He understands how to design the city. He's been are you still on the board with the Saxe EDC?
I am, and on city council as well.
Yeah, so I mean, this is your third term?
Third term, yes.
Oh my goodness! So
I'm a glutton for punishment.
no, but people can trust you, and you know those questions, and on top of all of those things that I think are stellar, if I've got a question, who am I asking? Jeff Bickerstaff, because he's going to tell me. And you know what? He cares enough he'll text me right back. He'll answer me right back if I have a question about, hey, who does this, who does that? And I'm not even living in Saxe, so that's pretty awesome because he knows. But his wife is a teacher, so she's special needs teacher over there in Saxe.
Yeah, part of the Garland Independent School District, but yeah, she does teach at Armstrong Elementary here in Saxe.
And you've got how many kids working out of the house over there right now?
I got 3. I got one behind me, as you can see.
And at any moment, as anybody watching this interview series knows, you're going to see my grands run around. Right now, They're upstairs being all careful. They're trying to be careful while grandma's on interviews. But they're 4 and 5, so they're as careful as 4 and 5-year-olds can be, and they'll come out. But
well, you'll see 3 kids and 2 cats probably, and some other things, I'm sure.
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So we understand a few things about what you're going through, area businesses, area families, and want to make sure that you are aware that there's some questions going on in the insurance space. So Jeff has agreed to come on and talk to us about what he's seeing and how he's having to rise to the challenges of this shelter in place or stay at home order, and how's that working. So you're hearing some interesting questions that might tickle some, and others are going to go, well, that is a good question. What is the answer? I mean, should I be thinking about my auto policy differently now that I'm not doing very much?
Well, you should, and maybe you shouldn't. But first of all, let me say that we're very fortunate at Bickerstaff Insurance and Financial Services because we are able to work from home. Our staff is all remote, but we have this great thing called the internet that allows us to still take care of our customers. So that's what we're most thankful for, is that we can still communicate with our customers, whether it's on the phone, through email, through Zoom, kind of like what we're doing today. So that's first and foremost. We always want our clients and our future clients to know that. But beyond that, from a broad sense, there are specific things that I think our clients should, not just our clients, but anybody really, that has concerns about how does this pandemic affect insurance. And I'll just share a couple of questions that I've gotten so far and just kind of let you know what the more common questions are. On the personal side, we've gotten a lot of questions from our clients about, hey, should I cut back on my auto insurance? We really don't get the questions about should I cancel it, but people aren't driving as much. Stay at home, of course. We have a lot of our clients that are essential workers, so they are driving. But the temptation is, hey, I don't drive my car as much, so maybe I should cut back on this coverage or that coverage. And in general, our answer to our clients has been no, don't really do that, at least not at this point. because again, you don't know when if you say you cut off collision, or you want to lower your liability limit. And again, we all understand we're trying to save more money, cut back and things like that. And that's perfectly understandable that people would wonder about that. But the problem is, I think when you start doing that, you go down that slippery slope to where you cut something back, and then all of a sudden something does happen, unfortunately. And then all of a sudden where you had enough before, you don't have enough now. So I don't think we're to that point yet to where we need to start looking at that. So that's a common question we get for auto insurance. Another common question we're getting is on the business side is most business owner policies have something what we call business interruption. And that's a coverage to where if your business is, as the name implies, is interrupted, then there is some claims relief for that. However, in the past, or really traditionally, what we think of is hey, if I can't open my store, whether it's a fire, a tornado came through, something like that, to where, you literally couldn't open your doors, then your business has been interrupted. You can't open, you can't make income, you can't, by extension, pay your employees. So obviously that's a concern. So in the traditional sense, you would file a claim and they would reimburse you. A lot of policies, it's up to 12 months to say, hey, here's how I can pay my employees. Here's how I can pay my rent. And more importantly, hey, if I can set up shop somewhere else temporarily, that'll help pay for that. Well, in this instance with the pandemic and communicable diseases, there's a lot of debate out there about, well, can you file a claim to cover this? Because as we know, there's a lot of, quote, non-essential businesses out there that can't open. Right now, it's kind of foggy and not very clear. You'll get some opinions to where, no, that's not covered at all. And then there's others that say, hey, they're still looking at it. Right now, from what I'm seeing, is that that's probably not a viable option at this point to file a claim to get that kind of reimbursement. As you know, Susan, there's plenty of governmental assistance out there. Starting tomorrow, certain business owners can start filing for the Small Business Administration loans, the PPP, as we call it, Paycheck Protection Program. So that's what we're telling our clients at this point, that's the most viable option to go. And then if we're doing top 3 questions, I think the number 3 question we get some is about life insurance. And hey, how does this affect life insurance? Can I still apply for life insurance? And as it's always a good idea to have life insurance. Hopefully a lot of our clients, and you already have that, but you may be thinking about, hey, this has kind of put a different perspective on things. Maybe I really ought to think more about that than I used to. And it's not that life insurance has gone away or anything like that, but you're already seeing questions being added to applications to help the underwriters determine whether you're a good risk or not. And as you can imagine, one of the questions that's been added now is related to COVID-19. It can be anything from, hey, have you been exposed to that you know of, or have you had it? Things like that. And you didn't see that a month ago. So those are the top 3 questions that we get. And again, that's why we're very fortunate at Bickerstaff Insurance and Financial Services that we are able to work from home. We had to close our storefront, of course, but we are able to work from home. And, most of our clients, our goal is for our clients not to miss a beat. They need to get a hold of us. They still can.
That's super, super important, is to know that they can trust you just to guide them through that. I mean, their policy may need a little bit of revamping. I imagine that your life is going to get really busy here over the next 30 days because nobody saw it. Maybe I shouldn't say nobody. I did not see it. I did not see 30 more days coming on this thing. And we definitely.
I did. But that's fine because I've been in city council and we get some information.
I just didn't. And for so much, we've had to revamp so much here at OBBM and totally produce differently. And I'm excited to say that we can. But I had some serious question marks. How are we going to do this? How are we going to still produce a quality product when we're limited? And how does insurance matter? Because everyone is going to be looking at every single way that that money's flowing. How is it flowing, and how do I make the most sense of it?
Well, and that's what I would go back to what I've always said, and we've had this conversation, Susan, many times, is that people have to remember what insurance is all about. All insurance really is, at its most basic form, is the transfer of risk from you to an insurance company. And of course, you transfer that risk via a premium. So that concept hasn't changed at all, even with something like this. There's still risk out there, but it's what type of risk do you need to protect yourself against? And that's why insurance has been around as long as it has, is because you don't want to take on a certain risk. You want the insurance company to do that. Now, again, going back to the business, because that's the most the hot point, if you will, right now, as far as who's being impacted. Again, the pandemic, there wasn't a lot of people that, even a month ago, 2 months ago, certainly thought that, hey, how can insurance help protect me against this? And like I said, right now, insurance is debating whether or not that is a risk that they can transfer from you to them. But having said that, though, to me, and what we tell our clients and what we've seen and talked to our clients is that while that specific thing may or may not ultimately be covered, what it is showing our client, or what our clients are thinking about, thankfully, and what we're helping them do think about, is that you should think about all your risk, not just about this risk, which is obviously a really big risk, very important, but, hopefully it gets you in that mindset to where, okay, this risk is going to pass ultimately. But hey, what are risks that maybe I forget about, that I don't think about all the time, that I should look at? And that's what we're here for, because every one of our clients, every year, we do just a comprehensive review of the policies they have with us. And based on what they tell us and their needs, we say, hey, well, you might be a little short here. You may need to look at this. And this, nobody wishes that this had happened at all, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm very big believer that there's going to be so much good that comes out of this on all sorts of levels. And that's what we're focused on. And that's what I'm focused on personally. That's what our family's focused on, is that, we can only control what we control. But you know what? We're going to look at the good of everything. And we're all going to be better for this. But as you know, Susan, life is just about choices. And you can choose to look at it, obviously, about the good that's going to come out of it. Or quite frankly, you can look at it as, hey, this is horrible and my world's over. I hope we don't look at it that way, but, we look at it from a positive standpoint, all the good that's going to come of things.
Well, we do. And that's not to negate that there's some real pain out there today. I mean,
absolutely.
We haven't had to experience that in our families, but we've got other people out there that are having, when this thing is at its worst, the whole family is impacted by it. And if they are running a business, whether it's even on the management side or, and everyone's a valuable employee, all of those things can really, it is a hurting time and people want to know. So the thing of it is that positive attitude makes such a difference in the healing of the entire community. We can actually help those people that are hurting when we maintain that positive attitude. So we know how to plug in, right? Because misery just has a way of shrinking your vision.
Oh gosh, yes, it's very suffocating. You can let that. It's just it can build upon itself. And and Susan, you brought up a good point. There's my kitty cat. There you go. Hold on. Okay. Oh, that's okay. Here we go. So there's about dinner time for them. That's why they get a little anxious. But what I was going to say though was that you're right. There's a lot of pain out there, and it's real. And a lot of people are hurting. There's two of my clients that, like I said, they're closed and they have zero income, zero revenue coming in. But again, the thing that we're trying to help them with is that, again, stay positive. We're praying for them for them to get through this. But also too, from a practical standpoint, we are advising them the best we can to say, hey, here's some other programs that you can look at. I've talked to two of my clients today about the Paycheck Protection Program, say that real fast. And while that's not my area of expertise, I do get information about that, and I try to pass it on and give them all the help I can get. The bottom line being that I want them to know that we are here for them. We can't solve every problem, but we are here for them. And you know what? If they have questions, please ask us, whether it's deferred payments on their premium, or if they just, quite frankly, they just want to vent. They just want to talk about it, and just say, hey, because, as small business owners, you're small business owners, there's a lot of uncertainty out there. And so we're all navigating this together. And the best thing we could do, like you said, is be there for one another, have a positive attitude. And yes, we're all going to have our moments.
Well, I have a question before we go, Jeff, that I think
Sure.
You started to hit on, and I want you to go just a little bit deeper before we let this audience go. You said now is a good time to be asking those questions, and on a regular basis, you go back to your client base and you go, hey, let's reassess what you're doing. Are there any pieces, any areas of our business that maybe we should look at a little more closely and talk to our insurance agent about, so that we might maybe mitigate some risk coming up, right? Or make some better choices in the future. Because certainly if this can happen once, it can happen again. And we need to be better prepared, right? But if this came around, you'd want to know we learned everything we could out of this one, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a couple things I would say to address that. Number one is, from a real broad standpoint, I think you ultimately will see some legislative changes on how we deal with future illnesses, if you will. So that's down the road, but I think you will see that. Not unlike, I think, the terrorism forum that happened after 9/11. You see coverage for that. So in a big picture, I think that's coming down the road. But in the short term, though, yes, like you said, it's one of those things to where if you're a business owner, and quite frankly, even on the personal side, but especially on the business side, just really look at the type. Everybody's business is different. So just really look at, okay, what do you do for a living, and what are the risks that you see on a daily basis? And we've seen that already in this particular instance, where, you know what, I do have some risk in not being able to pay my rent, or my employees are being shut down. It might not be a pandemic that shuts you down next time. It may be something, like I said, you could have a fire, you could have a tornado that shuts you down.
Or you could have a serious cybersecurity issue. Or
Boy,
you,
you know what? We
yeah.
don't have we need about an hour more for that. But I will just briefly touch on that. And that's a great point, Susan, is that, when this is all done, and unfortunately it may even be going on right now, is that if you, as a business owner, if you do not have cyber liability, now again, I'll say it again, if you do not have a cyber liability policy, your business could be done if you had a breach. And I could promise you, the breach is not going to be your fault. I mean, you're going to be doing the right things. You're going to have this firewall. You're going to do this. But sadly, it's very sophisticated operation out there, and they can get through where you think they can't. So if you didn't have a cyber liability policy to protect you from that, or, it's like a regular liability policy. It might be $1 million, might be $2 million. If you don't have that, you don't have to wait for this to be over. That's the first call I'm making, because that's especially going forward in the future. That's how, as a business owner, that's how you're going to be attacked, if you will, literally and figuratively. And you just don't want all your hard work to go down the drain because you didn't have the right protection that you needed.
And those are compliance issues now. So now that's governmentally compliant. There's compliance issues behind that. I mean, there's certain things that you need to have, and it's a responsibility factor.
Yeah, so that's like I said, that's a whole nother conversation. But I think every business owner, especially nowadays, since we're working from home and we're using this technology that, let's just be honest, is vulnerable to a certain extent.
It was just on the news yesterday, right?
Yes, just on the news. So it's I guess the one thing I would say is that, as an example, you don't want to be on a Zoom meeting with someone and then all of a sudden whatever information that you're talking about is hijacked, if you will. That's the last thing you want to do, because in this moment that we're dealing with, obviously we have a lot going on. You do not want to add that to your plate.
No, and everybody's doing business. That means internals are happening too. Right now, this is promotional, but there is a lot of stuff going on using these tools that are personal for the business, right? They would be considered private. Jeff, you are awesome. How can people reach you?
Okay, yeah. So this is even more important nowadays, as far as how you can reach us on the internet, if you will. So first and foremost, we're on the web, of course, bickerstaffins.com, real simple. That's our website. All of our email addresses are on there. You can still call us. My voice over phone is sitting right next to me, and thankfully it hasn't rung, although that might be a bad thing. 972-771-4992. Or my business email address, Jeff, Jeff, @bickerstaffins.com. Our agency's on Twitter, they're on Facebook, it's on Instagram. And whether it's a good old fashioned phone or email, if you're an existing client, please call us. But if you want to be a future client, please call us. And, we treat everybody differently, because everybody has a different situation.
And they can learn more about you on Seated to Serve. So Seated to Serve is our longest running podcast on the OBBM network. We're very proud of it.
I forgot the obvious.
Yes. So go listen to him, and you'll see some of the businesses that he works with, and some of the the local business community that supports him, and you'll know exactly what you're getting. And so I think that's really really fabulous. So we'll share that, and you can on all and Twitter and Instagram, you can also, and on Facebook, you can at Seated to Serve. You can find that podcast information as well. So we can't
Yes.
get Jeff busy enough. We just get him busy, 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 busy. All right, friends, until next time, you've been watching OBBM Live Special DFW Local Business with Jeff Bickerstaff today, and we're excited to share them with you. Until next time, hey, you want in on this? You need to go follow the link where you got this information in this video and schedule yours. Talk to you next time.